Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, hello. Welcome. We have a new co-host with us, guest appearance by the infamous Jackye. How you doing?
Well, we like to say just famous, but
Yes,
other than
famous.
that,
Oh, well, there's infamous and famous.
No, we
that's
are
right.
we are
Depending on
excited
the
and
context.
honored to have Jackye with us. Jackye, good to see you.
Yes, hi. I'm so glad to see you guys.
We
Well,
needed we needed some a pop of color on the screen. Like your glasses, just bring it. Absolutely bring it. I'm like, wait, I fully don't have a pop of color today, except maybe my phone.
Look at y'all
Joel, we're
both
so
have
in
the
sync.
phone cover. And my
well,
phone cover
And
is
of course the
clear.
slots.
So, I mean, it works out.
I love it. I love it. Well, welcome everybody to the HR Morning Show. This is the number one spot for all things HR all morning. We were joking backstage. We were going to rename this to Joel Show, but that was an epic fail. We voted against that. Danielle's already shaking her head. But we are a part of Purple Acorn. For anyone who doesn't know Purple Acorn, it's a network of podcasts and media all around HR and definitely have a ton of good shows, which we'll get to. But I want to ask you guys a favor. If you can, we are approaching 2,000 followers. 2,000, that's 200. So do us a favor and go onto the Purple Acorn page, like us on LinkedIn, engage with our content. We're putting out so much content,
So much.
more content than I even put out on my page, which is amazing. 10 videos a day. But follow us on YouTube. We're a podcast as well, so go subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. And guys, if you're out there, this is a live show, so like I'm real, Jackie's real, Danielle's potentially real, not replaced by AI yet.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We're not AI avatars yet. So get in the chat, say hi to us. We want to know who's out there. We want to engage with you. Let us know. Why don't you let us know who you are and where you're from, and then what you
Mm.
do as well. Those three things. So let us know who's out there. But Jackye, why don't you give us an introduction for anyone who doesn't know you? Who are you?
That's the question I've been asking my therapist for years now.
Relatable.
uh,
My name is Jackye Clayton. I have been in the business for a really long time. I just celebrated my 19th year on.
woo!
I feel like they only gave me a text. Maybe one of our people that we work with that can talk about recognition can help them change that a little bit. But
Aaron,
got
cuff
my
cuff.
start as a technology recruiter after being a business analyst when I stopped to have my kids. And then
Wow,
later started learning it was so difficult to find candidates, understanding how we could broaden the talent pool, and then started writing more about DEI, really from the aspect of where can we find more candidates? Where are we not looking for candidates? And where can we post to find more? So did that for a number of years. But as you can tell, not to date myself, I kind of started doing this business at the same time as the internet. And so I would always post and say, how do you do this? Do you know how to do this? Which ended me up being an editor for Recruiting Daily for a while. I worked at ERE really because I was bringing new concepts and kind of testing them out and learning them for a while.
love
So
that.
at the time, I didn't know it was permanent. And so here I am still 20 years later on the internet.
How did you get into recruiting? I mean, going from business analyst to recruiter, like how did that happen?
True story. So when I was at home, I started selling Tupperware, which is funny because I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to find a job. I added it to my resume and I worked at Robert Half. They were looking for someone who understood technology and sales. And because that was on my resume, they chose to interview me.
I love
Wild.
it.
That just
Love
goes
it.
to show, like, hindsight is 2020, obviously, but also it's like even if you choose to do the most random thing in the world, like right out of college, it very well could serve you in the future.
Yeah, and it
Absolutely.
also goes to show that recruiting will get all of us at some point. We
Yeah.
well, what I love too is you're kind of you're documenting your journey, right? Which I think Gary Vee always talks about that when it comes to content, like documenting like versus creating content. And it sounds like that's how your content journey started. Like you're just documenting like what you were doing, asking questions, building community. How is kind of the recruiting community, the online community changed? Um, for you, like what have you seen, and where do you think we are right now with kind of the recruiting community, the online recruiting community?
Well, what's funny is that at the beginning, it was kind of like we were doing more hacking. So I remember it would be like, how to get into people's intranet sites to find all the people who work in IT, like different things like that. So the online community was really hacking and sharing all these cool things. And then it became just learning tools. And
Mm,
so there wasn't a lot of this stealth maneuvering going on in regards to how to find people. Now it's like how to use tools to do it for you. And
mm,
so as a result, what happens is like if a tool gets canceled or some type of social media site gets canceled, then you lose your audience. You lose all the way to do it because we're not going back to the core of learning it. I mean, there's people that are still doing it, especially now with AI, because there's so many different ways of trying to write prompts or trying to get it. And I was actually talking to a friend and it was like, you know, prompt engineering that we're seeing now with AI is the same thing that we did. We didn't call it prompt engineering. Like we just said, how can we get into this site? How can we
mm.
get into this company? But we're seeing that kind of will come back to really kind of enhance the experience of what we're trying to learn. And learning all of that really helps as we're starting to meet people. We're having to learn people again. We're getting away from all of that. We have tools that can help automate that. And so we're seeing that really more in how people are recruiting, but also what's popular is really making that connection, like all of us. Aw.
I love that. I love it. What
Yeah.
what are you most excited about technology wise, when it comes to like new tools, new tech? 'Cause there's so much new tech. Like what have you had your eye on, and what do you think we should be paying attention to?
I've been really looking at like the recognition piece. I just got back from Work Human, and so there, of course, they talk a lot about recognition. But really, what I got excited about was the understanding that of customizing the experience more, like this hyper customization, but also recognizing where people can come in and allowing it to be more of a community. So I appreciate that we can do good things faster, that we can connect with people faster. But then also, I was excited to see finally people saying, this is the part that AI can do, and this is the part that can't be replaced by humans. And we're starting to see more about that. But then, honestly, I'm excited about AI taking the pace of like gatekeepers in HR. Like it's humans, like we're all humans. Can we all not be a part of it? And so many people have been like, sorry, this is my secret. I'm the only one who can do, and it's not true. So
Mm,
that's been kind of exciting to watch,
mm.
finally.
I feel like there's a lot of creativity involved in the future of what recruiting and HR operations looks like. Like there's so much more, especially with prompting now. It's like you don't have to have everything within one search. Whereas it used to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this one string of search to find the right candidate. And if I don't, then I have to start all over. I have to edit it. And now it's more like conversational and it creates more room for creative thinking. Even when it comes to, recognition and retention efforts, it's like, what are the things that we can do that we know, like we have all these different, all this information about people and how can we personalize at scale? I think that's something that's being integrated every single day. Case in point, I was talking to someone yesterday and they were like, oh, we got this new platform that enables everyone to order what they want for lunch on a weekly basis.
Hmm.
So it's like they pool, like DoorDash or Uber Eats orders and the company pays for it, but it's a platform that allows, I think it's called Relish. It's a platform that allows them to basically pool everything together and for everyone to get whatever they want.
I love that.
Customized bowls, salads, like sandwiches, like whatever it might be, which I love. And it's like, hello, welcome to the 21st century.
Well, and I think that's true too with like we're going to like we talk about skills hiring. The part that people need to understand is that we've all happened into this field But there is a lot of creativity that we're missing if we're trying to say, this is exactly what you have to have in
I
order to
love it.
be someone who stands out here. And so, I think people have, sure, given a lot of time and dedicated into their craft, but they're missing out. And with looking at AI, people who are interested can learn this quickly and really say, what skills can I use to do insert job title here? And I'd love to see how the positive ways that it can impact people's mental health. We're saying, I don't know if I can do this. What do I have that can do this? How can I make this work for me? What's the learning path without feeling like, bad about it or talking to someone who says, oh, I don't believe in you, where you can actually put those things and put it in place, I think is great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Shout out to my wife too. She just started using ChatGPT yesterday.
Hey,
And she's
gang,
using
gang.
it. She said she was using it to find out how to have boundaries in relationships.
Oh my God.
I was like, wait, what's going on here? No, but then she's also like, yeah, I just started playing around with it, and now she's putting together like grocery lists and doing some practical stuff. So and this is from someone who like 2 or 3 weeks ago was like, I do not believe in AI. I'm never going to use it. And I'm like, well, don't not be
Not until you
curious.
try it.
Well,
That's like everyone I've heard who watches the new Jake Paul, like the Paul Brothers show, Paul American. Everyone's like, "Oh, I hate the Paul Brothers," and then they watch it and they're like, "Oh, wow, like they're actually evolved men." That's really
It's
cool.
funny what you can learn when you actually decide to look at something before making your opinion. It's
Yeah,
amazing. It's
curiosity.
like a miracle.
it was it's funny because I was thinking about back in the day with TikTok. Like I was on TikTok in 2019, and I remember everybody around me, even people who were significantly younger than me, were like, "Oh, that's just for kids dancing. This is nothing." And then literally, probably 12 months later, everybody was kind of like joining in on it, and it kind of just reminds me of that. I feel like we just go through those trends of, yeah, no, that's not going to be a thing, and then it
And
just
then it
always
is.
becomes a thing. So, well, look, Jackye, it's great to have you with us. We are honored to hear your insights, hear what you think, and kind of moving into our next segment. I wanna take a look at this piece of news about Workday, and love to get your take on this as well.
Okay, I will admit something. I looked at this headline and I was like, "Oh my God, who cares?" Like,
Right?
actually, like, who cares? But then I'm inspired by our conversation about a minute ago. I'm like, "Oh, let's investigate." So, Joel, what are we looking at today?
Well, look, everybody. I first of all, I want to say about Workday. I think Workday, out of any piece of tech in HR, I feel well, maybe Deal and Rippling are
Gets the
kind of
most hate?
equaling that right now. But yeah, Workday gets dragged, across the mud, so to speak, like every single day on social media.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken to countless talent acquisition professionals that are at typically larger companies that have they almost every time I talk to them, it feels like they're being forced to use Workday's recruitment software. They're forced into it. I hear candidates complaining about having to re-enter information, it just being like a huge burden on them when they're applying for jobs. But now the new head of product is out to change that. The headline here says wants us to like Workday as much as he does, which I just think is hilarious. But look, apparently Workday is going to be implementing a lot of AI that's apparently going to make things way better. I feel like this is a promise from a lot of companies right now. AI is going to
It's about
magically
time.
come in and make everything better. But Jay, I'm curious from your point of view. What are your thoughts when you see the headline? When you kind of read the article. What's your takeaway here?
Literally, I was kind of like Danielle, maybe like +1. I was like, shut up. I wasn't just like, who cares? I was like, please, thank you, Garrity, appreciate that. But then really looking into it, it's more than that. And it's really the age-old problem that we've seen. Like, do we build our product for buyers or do we build our product for users? And
Mm,
and I think that they're really addressing that. I mean, you started talking about some of the challenges that we'd had with Workday, but it was more than that. It was like, we call in the recruiting piece, we call candidates or employees. They all had different names. It was hard to put it all together and what part did they actually do. But now we know that the future is going to be AI driven. And so I'm glad to see the transparency first, that they even know that they have to rethink this design, that they know that they really need to look at the fairness in AI, and they understand that looking at the legacy of bureaucracy head on rather than smoothing it over with technology is the way that we need to go. So I'm excited about that. And that they can deal, as you know, that's really important to me, is like fairness and looking at the bias in AI and looking at the pieces that they need to solve. Now, let's see if they really do it and if it really works out like that. And with a company of that size, making such a huge change enterprise-wise is really going to affect their buyers, the users internally, but as well the developers that are working on it. So it will be interesting. That will be a case study, and you'll have to have him on to try to figure out how he did that. If he's able to do that successfully,
Yeah,
it'll be a real
true.
case study to watch.
It's if you look into, and this is all generated from, I think, an interview he did, a longer interview. So if you look a little bit more deeper into that interview, one of the things I think that's interesting is he refers to people and how their buying decisions are changing internally. And in my opinion, and what we've seen in the market is like organizations are no longer, just kind of prescribing people to, or at least the most innovative organizations are not prescribing people to use the same tools. And especially, I think if you're coming into a new workplace, you're maybe top talent, you're bringing your own tools with you, your own tech stack. And I think that's only going to continue to be the case, from bottom to top of the organization. And I think this move and this kind of, even the way that it's phrased, like Workday's new head of product wants you to like Workday as much as he does, like keeping it vague as far as who you is. You is everyone, right? And I think that's really an important thing because it's like the end consumer experience, right? The product experience is important for not just the HR people using Workday, but also the people they report to and also the people who are applying to the jobs. Um, so that's kind of I really like that approach because it really is taking into consideration like how people are buying today.
Yeah, I think my thought with Workday as a whole is it's just such a huge platform and it does everything. And so when you do everything, it's hard to make everybody happy because everybody has different preferences. And so, if you're handling onboarding, you're handling, uh, you know, daily HR concerns with people, communication, you're dealing with finances, payroll, you're dealing with candidate source, you're dealing with interview. I mean, you're dealing with pretty much everything. So, I think it's a tough task to know, and I just think everybody has different preferences. Like, I think of candidate experience. Obviously, I talk to a lot of candidates. Um, People have different, experience. I think everybody kind of agrees that they want something that's quick and efficient and um, easier, and something that's not as cumbersome. But even within that, people have different preferences. So I think when you're building a platform that does everything, trying to make everybody happy is a challenge. And I think even just like ATS platforms, I see this a lot. Everybody I talk to in recruitment has a different way of doing things, a different process, a different way that they like to do things. And I think, a lot of times with tech products that are trying to win buyers within the HR and recruitment space, fundamentally, when everyone has different preferences and they do things differently, it's really hard to create a platform that allows you to do all of those different things. And I think the companies that are really able to customize and understand that do well, but it's a challenge. And I think AI can obviously help with that to an extent. But I think sometimes it's talking to people who are actually going through the processes is big. And I wonder how often that communication's happening compared to like building something in a lab and just thinking, "Oh, this would be great." It's like how often are people actually going to the buyers and having those conversations?
Well, understand too, the challenge, especially with these kind of tools in a workday, is because it goes cross departmentally. So you have core HR, you have recruiting TA, maybe you have total comp and compliance, you might have legal, then you have payroll, and everyone's looking to work into the same system, but they all came from all of these other disparate systems. And it's been since the very beginning of time saying we want to combine all of these tools together. We want to make one happy house for all of these people. It's just can we just give up? Give it up. That's not going to happen. Maybe they should talk to those people who are like, no, this one is vegan, this one wants Thai, and this one wants pizza, and this is the way that it's going to work. Maybe they should talk, because it sounds like that's part of this problem. Like, let them have their own interface. No charge for that. Anybody who's going to make that develop where I can have my interface that works for me, but still integrate into the major databases so that you have all the data.
I mean, it reminds me of like Google Drive versus Notion. Like,
That's right.
Notion came in hot and heavy, and it's like, oh my God, like all the tech companies are using Notion. But like, you do still have some geezers who are using, I'm just kidding, I'm a geezer.
Don't call it geezers.
No.
People who are used to using their tools traditionally. I can't wait 30 years from now where I'll be like, this bitch still on TikTok. Danielle.
Actually, if we're calling spade a spade, I am a geezer then, because I'm like barely on TikTok, and I still use Google Drive.
I'm at this point I am more Gen Z than you, Danielle, on TikTok.
No,
put it in between
a lot of people.
Danielle and Faraj.
Yeah. No, Gen Z, sure. Okay. I think it's the same thing as like Notion versus Google Drive, and it's like Google Drive has yet to make it like super easy for people to integrate different systems. Like, you have to use like a Zapier or another tool to like integrate Google Drive. Whereas Notion, it's like you literally hit like the / button, and it's like, do you want to, connect your Gmail or Google Drive or like all these different things, your Jira. Like, it's absolutely nuts. And I think that's actually a very smart strategy. People used to, I think it's like a very traditional approach to say like, oh, like we need to keep everything separate, like nothing can be integrated, nothing can come into our system. And it's just a stupid approach, because as you were saying, Jackye, like people like Thai, people like burgers, people like, whatever the heck they like, and you better adjust to that.
That's right. I think people leave to go to companies that use the tech that they want, especially if they're evolving.
For sure.
And if you look like on Reddit, it'll say, oh, I don't apply for anybody who has
Outlook.
this ATS.
Yeah.
Like, they're that serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny here too, because one of the things that he said was actually going to customers and talking to them about what they want, which I just mentioned that, like, that's what you need to do. But then when I actually think about that, I'm like, most companies I know, like, everybody still has different opinions, and it's like you have so many cooks in the kitchen. So I just think it's crazy. But then also I also read here that the interviewer asked, did you use Workday when you applied to the job? And he said no. So I'm like, does this guy know what he's getting into?
Right.
Like,
That's so funny.
Because everyone else who had to apply through Workday bailed on it halfway through. But anyway, we don't
do an undercover boss situation.
Yeah.
I think that should be a thing. I honestly think they should be an undercover application thing. I think executives should go through their own recruitment process.
Agreed.
To see what it's like. But maybe that is an efficient use of time. So all right, well look, we could probably trash Workday all day long, even though secretly we want Workday as a sponsor. So Workday, if you're out there, if you're listening, come sponsor our show. We want to hear all about this. Head of product from Workday, if you want to be on the show, get a hold of us, let us know. We'd love to actually interview you, hear what you're going to do differently. Why don't we move on to our next segment here? What is it?
Oh, wait, where's Allyn this morning?
Allyn who?
Our HR visionary. She's suspiciously absent. What's going on?
Well, word is Allyn has gone undercover, so you could actually be Allyn. No, she's off the grid, and she's gearing up for something huge on June 10th, which is when?
June 10th? That's in a couple weeks. That's in like 30 days. No, sorry, 20 days. Guys, I'm really bad at math today. But wait, what's happening on June 10th?
Wait, you haven't heard about this?
How did I not hear about this?
I don't know. You know what? You need to mark your calendar because clearly you are not good with dates. You're not good with time frames. So mark your calendar because Smart Recruiters is about to launch something that is going to change TA, that's talent acquisition, forever.
Wow.
Forever.
Wait. Wow. Really? Seriously, though, I did know what's going on June 10th. If you've ever wished for a hiring process that's smarter, faster, and actually a little bit of fun, trust Joel and I, you'll want to be first in line because June 10th is the day. So mark your calendars.
Yeah, because we're actually talking about the end of the ATS era. So
Wow.
yeah, that's right. All you ATSs, watch out because this is the end of the ATS era, or is it era? I don't actually know how to say
Era.
that. Era.
Era.
No, but seriously, Allyn is getting ready. She's gonna make history with this. Winston is up to something huge, so you need to pay attention. You need to be on the lookout. Where are your
Wow.
glasses? Where are your binoculars?
They're in Florida. I left them. I left them in Florida. But while Lynn is busy building the future, everyone do yourself a favor. Actually, though, save the date and sign up for this launch. You can head to the launch with this QR code right here, and get ready to see what all the buzz is about.
Yep, June 10th, Smart Recruiters, Winston. You do not want to miss this. So again, June 10th, mark it in your calendars. And yeah, if you are out there, if you're in the comments, why don't you give us a buzz? Let us know if you're going to be there. Scan that QR code as well, because we will be there as well. But seriously, Allyn, we're missing Allyn, and this is one of my favorite segments as well. So I'm really excited to see what she is cooking up for us.
I will be watching all the way from Paris, so we'll have the same view but different city.
I might be in New York that day, maybe.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
All right. Well, guys, and if you haven't checked out Smart Recruiters, definitely go check out Smart Recruiters. They're doing amazing stuff, incredible stuff. We talk about it every week, week in, week out, about how AI is helping TA professionals. So if you're not paying attention to what Smart Recruiters is doing, do that. And if you're not following Allyn as well, I just want to say Allyn puts out some amazing content across platforms. Always really, really insightful. Always just really insightful around AI and how it's changing work. So if you're not following her, go follow her, not just on LinkedIn, but on TikTok as well. She puts out a ton of good content.
Love it. All right. See ya back here next week.
Thank you.
Hello. You heard about the HR Morning Show and the QR code? We are available as a podcast and on any major platform that you listen to your podcast, as well as YouTube and LinkedIn. So please go subscribe, never miss an episode. But this is not the only show on the Purple Acorn Network because, of course, we want variety. We want to fulfill everyone's flavor palettes. So we have, what do we have, Joel?
The Lou Adler part. Oh no, I always do that. No, it's Matt Alder. He hates that. He hates that because he gets that question. But seriously, if like anyone who doesn't know Matt, I mean, Matt runs one of the best podcasts in recruitment off the network. But he also has a live show, and what I love about the live show, it's a different dynamic. He's interviewing more people on the fly. Got some really great co-hosts as well. I know Rona is one of his co-hosts. Just absolutely crushing it. Yeah, you can't edit out anything on the live show. But if you haven't checked out the Alder Hour, definitely do it. Scan the QR code. What else? What other podcasts do we have?
What else do we have? We have My First Job. Jackye, have you gotten to listen to any of these other shows like My First Job? Do you have any idea what My First Job is about?
What was your first job?
My first job?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you worked?
Thanks for asking. I worked for my parents in their indoor go-karting company. It was in Jersey City, New Jersey, which it still is. And actually, just 2 weeks ago, they broke the Guinness Book of World Record for the longest indoor go-kart track in the world. And they had a NASCAR racer do the official lap. Wild.
Oh, we'll talk about that offline.
No,
I am a
no
full
virtual
NASCAR.
parties for your corporate events at RPM Raceway.
But I will tell you, I do love Mike Wood. I love my first job. I will tell you, my first job, Eat Fresh, was at Subway when I was 16 years old.
Hey, same here.
It's still a fan.
Sandwich
Still.
artist.
So funny.
Fellow sandwich artist right here.
That's right. Boom.
The BMT. Let's
That's
go.
right. Biggest, meatiest, tastiest.
Wow.
No.
That's some good corporate branding right there. It's
That's
very
right. Subway.
consistent across the board.
No, it's a good. I what I love about the podcast is it's always just surprising to hear what people's actual first jobs are. And Mike is a great host too. Anyone that knows Mike, he's so genuine. He's really authentic. So definitely scan the QR code there. And then we have another podcast as well, From the Desk with
Jada Montemarano. Guys, I almost got it. People actually compare me and her because we kind of look alike a little bit.
Yeah.
On a good day when I'm like more tan. But Jada is awesome. She brings a real journalist perspective to this HR industry, interviewing some serious heavy hitters. So do not miss this one. Go and browse some existing episodes and tune in, I think every Friday. Yeah, every Friday at 11 a.m. PT.
Yeah, and as always, if you scan these QR codes, if you go to the Purple Acorn Network, you can find all of our content. I think we got a show for every single day of the week, and more shows are getting added daily. So special shout out to Mr. Evan White that puts this together, that kind of organizes the network. It's exciting, and we got some really cool live events coming up as well.
One that we didn't mention, by the way.
Wait, one?
Wednesday, we have X to Z.
X to
Okay.
the Z. Let's
X
go.
to the Z is actually it's a fire show. It's me and Mervyn Dinnan, and it is
Mervyn didn't.
It is a podcast, and we talk about generational differences at work. Very insightful conversations, if I do say so myself. Most of the wisdom comes from Mervyn and him telling me the way that it used to be in the workplace.
And the first 10 minutes is always great because it's figuring out how to get the tech right. And it's kind of like...
No, actually, his landline will ring, and that's the best part of the show. It happened yesterday.
I love it. Jackye, we got to get you. We're going to have to get you on the network, the Purple Acorn Network.
Maybe I just got this fan. Maybe I could get one, and it's like, she's furious, which I don't know how long I can be furious.
I love it. Well, those are all of our shows. So guys, if you're not subscribing to the shows, you need to go subscribe. All right. So I think we're going to move on. I think we have a caller coming in.
Oh, we have a caller. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Wait, I want to wake up like this every morning.
Wait, yeah, it's actually very fun. I highly recommend. Well, you are welcome to come back. But first, let's get your first appearance over with. And why don't you share with everyone what you do and who you are?
Oh my gosh, who am I? Well, to start, I have 2 kids under 2. So a lot of mornings, I'm up at 5 a.m. And I think that's a huge part of who I am outside of work. But when we're considering work, I am the head of people and culture at Her Campus Media. I also am a career coach on the side. So I coach a lot of women in their careers, like on mindset, transitioning, all of those things. And yeah, I think that summarizes me pretty quickly.
I love that. And also the fact that you do career coaching, I think is very cool because it's very holistic. It seems like you not only work at a company where you're, developing people, but you're also doing that as part of your passion and fulfillment how did that start?
Oh, I love a side hustle. So I actually started my career as a therapist, and just so happens, obviously during COVID, a lot of people were like, what am I doing with my life? And started to come to me for resume, because with 10 years of recruiting experience, I was really able to look at people's resumes. But then I started weighing in a little more on what was holding them back, because it's not always just your resume fix. And yeah, and then it spiraled from there. It literally started with one friend, one client, and then grew as just like referrals. So I love it. I think it's, we all need some help to navigate our careers.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I feel like earlier on it can be a struggle.
Yeah.
So the way that we connected, I think I like cold reached out, or maybe we were connected through someone else.
Yeah.
I am working on a project, and I approached you as someone who could like definitely shed some light on what's going on in the world of Gen Z and careers. For anyone who doesn't know what Her Campus is, can you share with the room like what is Her Campus? Like
Yeah.
what is the impact that Her Campus has had? Obviously, I'm familiar with it, but if anyone doesn't know.
Yeah, you've been part of our communities. So yeah, Her Campus Media is media marketing solutions connecting brands across every kind of niche and genre, from beauty, fitness, wellness. We connect brands with Gen Z. And how we do that is really through our communities and being really present on campus and giving students development, from their careers. But we also work with influencers on campus, fashion. We're starting to work with athletes. So our approach is really like give back to Gen Z. Let's help pave the way for Gen Z, but then let's connect Gen Z with brands. So we do that through a lot of really cool experiential events, influencer marketing, sampling, ambassador programs, all of it. So it's really amazing work because you get to see brand stories come to life through students, and I love that.
It's super interesting, and for me it's like I think I've definitely built my career around this, bringing brands to Gen Z, but also from like a career standpoint, right? Like an employer standpoint, how do you stand out as an employer for the next generation and attract them to your organization and also retain them? But this is, the flip side of like how do you attract them as customers? And what's interesting to me is like the parallels as far as what attracts them to a brand to buy from them as a consumer is often the same or very similar for employers.
Yeah.
And so I think of like, for example, a a huge trend that I've been seeing, and I'm sure you could probably speak to this a little bit, is like companies really leaning heavy on media and content for their products and like showcasing their products, I think more in the consumer world. But I've also started to see it, infiltrate organizations and for companies like Blackstone, of all places, to like create their own kind of mini series and like mini, TV shows about the like kind of based on The Office. So can you share a little bit more about like the role of marketing and media and like how important it is really for attracting the next generation to your company as, for as a consumer or an employee?
Yeah. Oh, I love this topic. So just a few, what I've seen out there, and again, my experience too, I was at L'Oreal for many years too. So I've seen both sides. I'm kind of on like the agency side now, and I've seen the brand side. What I've seen shift in the last several years is your kind of companies' brands as they stood out many years ago are very different now because Gen Z wants authenticity. So what that means is, whether it's content or a few brands that stand out to me that are doing this well. Like Duolingo came up with this mascot, right? That's like connecting with people and professionals in a very different way. So you have that approach. You have Mix, professional makeup that actually launched. They're bringing emerging like musicians in and creating music and pairing up with their beauty products. That's awesome. Our approach at Her Campus Media is more of a community. So we are building communities in order to kind of be present on campus and not only get our brand known, but also other brands. So I think when it comes to content, that might look different depending on your approach, but make it authentic. So whether it's a podcast. So also more and more companies, which I'm loving this angle, are using their own employees as influencers. Like bring people into who you are as a company, right? Because like the days of just being a brand that you look up the careers page is gone. I don't even know if like many people are looking at true career pages anymore. It's really about like, how do you stand out as a brand, being your authentic self with this angle. So definitely podcasting, communities, influencers, or a mascot. It's really cool to see. And I love that approach because then again, candidates and Gen Z or who's ever looking for a job really gets to know you and can start to see themselves in your brand.
I absolutely love that. We're speaking definitely the same language. And it's also what, just building off what you were saying, I think it's also about consistency across the brand. Like if someone reads something, about, on Glassdoor about your company being a horrible place to work or not liking the CEO very much, or not feeling included as a young person in the company, which is, it happens every day.
Yeah.
But then they go to, TikTok and they see someone who is actually at the company working there, talking really positively about their experience. The TikTok could actually sway the opinion of that onlooker, whoever's looking for that information. And I think that just kind of speaks to the power of word of mouth for this generation. Obviously you work more with media and consumer-led brands. For any companies that are trying to maybe attract this generation or retain them, what do you think they could be doing from a content and media standpoint to like help make their organization more attractive?
I think it honestly starts with like listening to your customers and who you want to attract. Work backward from there. Because if you're just putting content out there and thinking this is going to connect because this brand did that, it actually might not work for you, right? Like I'm sure we've all seen like try to replicate a TikTok or something that went viral and it doesn't work. That's because it has to work for you as a brand. So I like to start listening. And it's like, again, whether your audience is Gen Z, whether it's millennial, a mix, but like listen to your audience first, look at data, see what they want to hear. And I think that's a really good way to start because you don't just want to jump into that content creation that just might not, maybe it's over, right? Like trends are happening so quickly nowadays. So I think that's the thing is you need to get ahead of that curve in that, in attracting, but you have to do it from an authentic place. And I just think listening, gaining that feedback. What do people want to see? How do they want to feel? Like, do they want to feel excited, empowered? Really check in with what you want your like population to feel and then go from there. And I think that approach works very well. And you see the companies standing out that are leaning into that space versus just like replicating, it's falling flat.
I love that. And do you have any like examples that kind of come to mind? I know you mentioned Duolingo and a couple others. Do you have any examples of like employers who are really showcasing like the experience of work?
Ooh, okay. I know I'm a mom right now, but Bobby is really connecting with Gen Z, even if you're not thinking about kids yet. Bobby, the formula, company, I think they're doing this so well because they are bringing people in behind the scenes of not only motherhood, but like a community of being a parent, women in general working. It's like the whole theme of we're not just showing up at work and they're getting it well, right? It's not about you go to work and you leave. It's about bringing your whole self, and that whole self for a lot of people is thinking about kids, or even if you're not thinking about kids, it's really about like who we are as people and showing up. So they're doing it really well right now by bringing in again, telling stories and behind the scenes. So stories are very powerful. It really gains people to not only listen, but then lean in. So I love what they're doing. They just did a whole billboard in Times Square, again, really showcasing everyone from celebrities to just average moms that are, working through being a parent in the workplace, but then pushing their amazing product. So they're doing it well right now.
I love that. And also it's like even if your consumer is not Gen Z yet or whatnot, like we are thinking
Yeah,
about motherhood. Like we're
exactly.
thinking about companies that, are very supportive and have great maternity leave, and paternity leave. Like we're thinking about these things, but they're not like actively our main priority at the moment, but we are planning. And I think if you can position your company as somewhere that, does value that and does value the potential parent, the future parent, as well as the current parent. I think that's like a beautiful thing that will naturally draw in the right people.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
and
it shows
yeah,
that they care about like people at bottom line,
I
like
agree.
whether you're a parent thinking about it or never going to be a parent. It's like we care about you and your whole self and people. So I think that really matters for many
Yeah.
brands right now.
Yeah. And my last question for you, I have to plug my computer in really quickly. But my last question while I do that is, what do you think companies and leaders should know about this next generation as far as leading them that might be different from other generations?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing about Gen Z is you really have to constantly create development. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that is a promotion or a title change, but you need to really tap into that development. Again, I'm a millennial. And so my generation, again, was a little bit more, I think we started to shift a little bit and where you see people looking for jobs more often. But now, I mean, Gen Z, you know how it is. Like it's not only instant gratification, but you want new things a lot more often. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean title promotion, but companies really need to think about that. Like, what is growth for you? How are you creating growth for your employees? It's not necessarily workshops anymore. What does that look like for you? And this is a really important part to retain Gen Z, but also other generations as well.
Agreed. I love that. Thinking about what people want, not just doing whatever you think is right.
Yeah, or like
Actually
what
talking
we've typically done in the past. Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining. This has been such a lovely conversation as always. I hope you come back. And where can people find you online?
Yeah, I mean LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, sharing a lot of content on careers. So definitely reach out to me there. You can reach out to me through my website if you want coaching from a mindset perspective in your career at brittramsey.com. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, Danielle. It was so fun.
I love that. Awesome. All right. We'll talk soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Straight up old person moment. I was on mute after that Gen Z segment. Now I'm feeling like a granddad, but that's okay. I'm excited to be here. Thank you to our big sponsor, our number one sponsor here, Aaron. If you guys have not checked out Aaron, you need to. They are the number one employee referral platform. So I always say, if your employees are not referring people, it might be something up with your culture. But definitely for a lot of these hard to place roles, I'm thinking about healthcare, manufacturing, hospitality, really, really engaging your employees and helping them bring in referrals is a great way to recruit talent. So check out Aaron, and if you are interested, we also have some red shoes that you can get. Someone DM what's the link for that? Someone on our team get in the chat with that link, um, so people can sign up for the red shoes. But we also have some great people pictured here. We've got Evan White on the left, and we have this guy in the middle here who I don't know yet, but I'm sure I'm going to get to know him really soon. And then we have Mike Staffy on the right as well. So if you're interested in Aaron, check out the Aaron platform. They help us bring this show each and every week. As you can see, I've got my Aaron swag on here, this fantastic jacket. Also have the shoes as well. And if you're ever at a conference, you need to check out the shoes. And I think someone just posted the link for that. No, Adam Posner. Shout out to Adam Pos, who's in the house as well. He's on his second pair. I'm on my third pair, Adam. So it's because I'm a real true Aaron fan and I wear my red shoes everywhere. But fantastic to have Aaron as a sponsor. And if you guys are interested in that, hit us up, hit myself up. anyone on the Purple Acorn squad, and we can give you some more information on Aaron as well. And with that, I think we got someone calling in. Someone. All right. Hello. Is there someone on the other side of the line? Who is that?
Hey, Joel. Got Ryan Appleton here with Roguire.
All right, Ryan. You look familiar. Have I seen you before?
Yeah, you just had me up on screen with Evan and Mike from the Aaron squad rocking out the red shoes. I got myself a pair as well.
Sweet. How comfortable are those red shoes?
You know, I've never had a pair of Pumas before, but I was telling the guys they're more comfortable than any shoe I've had. Not gonna lie.
I love it, man. I feel the same way. Well, enough about red shoes. Why don't you give us a quick intro? Like, who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
Cool. Well, first and foremost, I'm a girl dad, a husband, avid hockey player, true blood Minnesotan.
Oh, that's where we're gonna have to cut you off. That just kidding.
Right. For Rogue Hire, I'm talent attraction, intelligence, and coaching for healthcare talent acquisition.
Wow. Okay. So, talk to me about that talent attraction. What does that look like? I've heard of talent acquisition, but what's talent attraction?
We kind of take it just peeling the onion back a layer further and focus really on all things attracting and retaining workforce. So think recruitment, marketing, employer brand, candidate experience, talent sourcing, and all the tools and technologies we use to maintain the ecosystem.
I love it. So healthcare, from what I hear and what I understand, healthcare, it's an extreme challenge to attract talent. And I'm thinking of like nurses, for example, right? There's a shortage of this talent, also extremely hard to reach. So what are some of the challenges that you're facing with clients you're working with, and how are you getting around that? Like, how are you working with clients to help them attract more of this talent?
Yeah. I mean, nursing and healthcare, especially in very specialized clinical positions, are definitely facing a talent shortage, right? You see all the reports out there in the ecosystem of nurses retiring at a faster rate than we're graduating them through nursing programs. So it's definitely difficult. And going back to your just previous conversation, it's also cutthroat. Nurses are telling us, very loudly and clearly, what their frustration points are, whether it's, unsafe environments, lack of support, burnout from excessive patient loads, better opportunities. There's a lot of competition out there. And I think healthcare talent acquisition teams are challenged more so than ever in finding that differentiation, right? Why are they different from Happy Health to healthcare system B, C, and D, and leaning into that and really figuring out, what makes them different. How are they going to appeal to those, emotional and career aspirations? So a lot of what we do is help, analyze performance and efficiency through different benchmark studies and data points too. And what I do is, kind of help unpack that and identify areas where you can, improve top of the funnel. One area we really focus or advocate heavily for is actually in the referral space. So, big shout out to companies like Aaron taking on that challenge to provide great technology to help in that process. But looking at even our most recent benchmark study, the percent of external hires coming from referrals in healthcare, and this is across 200 plus healthcare systems, over 1 million fills, 40% is the top 10 percentile of percent of external hires coming from referrals. So that should really shout very loudly and clearly not only the power of referrals, but candidate care, candidate advocacy, and looking at alternative ways instead of just focusing very heavily on the active job seeker market out there.
I've recruited in healthcare before, and it was always a challenge, specifically I was recruiting for nursing talent, and LinkedIn was not the primary source to find that talent. So I'm curious, where are you finding this talent, and outside of referrals that we just talked about, like where do you find that this talent hangs out? Where are they spending time, and how do you reach this type of talent?
Yeah, I think, a couple ways. I mean, one thing that you don't ever want to overlook, and we have a really interesting data point on that, is the average time a candidate that you've hired has been sitting already in your database in healthcare, at least on average, is over 1,000 days. I think it's 1,052. They've been sitting in your ATS. So anything you can do to um, lean into the ideas of candidate rediscovery and screening in versus screening out and finding homes for all candidates is going to be, incredible to your advantage. So any tools out there that are helping you screen and analyze your existing database and resurface those silver medalists, I mean, jump right on that. From an outbound, so kind of new candidate perspective, I really love the idea of these AI sourcing tools, and there's a few out there that are leaning very heavily into healthcare data. So think of all the licensure and certification organizations out there, right? They, in a sense, hold the licensed candidate pool in their database. So how do we integrate that? And many tools are investing heavily into healthcare data, not just with these organizations, but also on the consumer side. So think, you have a list of registered nurses, bump that up against some consumer data to get the more recent quality data. So I really like that idea of taking a more modern approach to talent sourcing, leveraging AI and more candidate quality database strategies.
I'm curious because I know a decent amount of people in healthcare. One of the things that they um, kind of, I don't want to say complain about. That's probably not the right word, but one of the things that they've run into a lot, particularly around COVID and kind of coming out of the COVID time. Um, a lot of them just felt, a lot of the people I know at least felt that maybe weren't treated right, or they were overloaded with work. Didn't seem like there was a lot of flexibility. And this is something I've thought a lot about with not just healthcare, maybe I think about more traditional industries. Manufacturing is probably on that list, hospitality, a lot of forward facing kind of human roles where you're dealing with people. Um, what do you think, when you think about these talent shortages, what are a lot of your clients doing to kind of address that? And like, how are they thinking about, like, how do we attract more people into the industry? Like, what are some of the strategies you've seen working, and like, where do you think that disconnect is? Like, why are people deciding not to go into healthcare or to go into other fields? What are your thoughts around that?
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, we talked about, earlier, some of those pain points that is screaming out of healthcare, like lack of support, burnout, better opportunities in there. So I think healthcare organizations need to be very intentional into understanding kind of the voice of their potential customers, the talent out there, and being able to adopt fluidly and create more cultivated ecosystems of learning, empowerment, training, education, more balanced work-life balances. And I think that's something that we educate very heavily on, and we see healthcare systems pivoting to, not just on the patient care front, but also within the talent attraction front, right? I think there's a big shift towards more of a candidate care and advocacy type of approach, especially in healthcare. And that's a big challenge because most large enterprise level healthcare are, oftentimes stuck with the large archaic ATS systems that, don't natively provide a good candidate experience. So implementing things like, ambassadorship groups, candidate advocacy groups, sourcers that are, solely specialized in just finding homes for silver medalists or following up and nurturing candidates that have applied in their ecosystem, but maybe not, a good fit for role A, but might be a good fit for role B, C, D, etc.
Love it, man. Well, look, where can people find out about you, Ryan? Where can people connect with you? Where can people find out more about what you're up to?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Affalter Ryan. Check out Rogue Hire, roguehire.com. We got some interesting benchmark studies and a free healthcare community for talent acquisition professionals. And I'm around.
Sweet, Ryan. Well, I appreciate it, man, and hopefully we'll talk soon again. I think we got an ad from a special friend, so why don't we roll the ad?
At Humoriso, we're not just another HR consultancy. We're a team of dedicated experts wanting to bring your business forward. Our Humoriso Technology Solutions, HTS, are a different kind of HR tech. Give real-time insights without overwhelming managers with too much data. So whether you're a growing startup, an established company, our human resources outsource support, payroll management are all there to help drive your business forward. So check us out and see what Humoriso could do for you today.
Hello. How are you doing, Heather?
Oh, good. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm doing better now because I cannot actually believe that I am sitting here with the Queen of the Mile. Like, my life has changed quite a bit than it did before. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, wonderful. It's a little bit dreary outside today, but otherwise things are great.
Well, I want to talk, in case people haven't heard, Heather has been known for her huge comeback that she had in 2008 in a big race, but her journey, of course, extends far beyond that moment. And looking from professional athlete, now you have a different role and you embody adaptability and strength. And I will tell you, one of the things that's really inspired me personally is seeing your willingness to talk about it. I feel like it's been going on for so long, but you've been able to bring it to the table with such grace and such kindness as people are sharing your story. But I'd love to hear about your journey since then. How has your experiences in track and field? And they had no idea to know that I'm a huge, huge fan of track and field. I'm like that dork that sits in the stadium and they're like, "Who do you know?" And I'm like, "No one." Like, I'm that person. But
Yeah,
I'd love to hear.
it's so exciting.
Poolside. But love to hear how that has shaped your experiences as you developed your career.
Yeah. So this race you're talking about that kind of put me on the map in a big way was back in 2008. So I was just a junior in college at that point and managed to make my first Olympic trials that summer later that year, and then went on to compete in 4 more Olympic trials beyond college as a professional athlete for ASICs for 11 years. So that was wonderful to be able to pursue my passion and, as I said, extend childhood for just a bit longer. During that time, I kind of had professional development in various areas. I was working as a personal care assistant and at a run specialty store, Mill City Running, for many of those years, and coaching high school athletes, privately coaching adults on their running journeys as well. So I think that you kind of, in that where you need to basically pour your entire soul into everything you can for training, it gives you a chance to dabble in a lot of things and learn what you really love. Somehow that parlayed for me into, I was coaching my financial advisor who decided to start a new company about 4 years ago. And when I retired from professional running after the trials in 2021, he said, "You know what, you are the exact personality and you have the tenacity to learn anything that we need you to learn," even though that wasn't even what I went to school for, but they hired me on as their first employee at a new company. So I've been able to help develop True Mix Advisors now for the past 4 years.
I appreciate that so much. I would love for anybody, you brought up talking about the race. We have a clip of that. I would love to show everybody that race here.
Sure.
The 600-meter underway. Heather Dornan in Minnesota finished second.
Here's Fondor now in the home stretch, heading into the bell lap. Dornan went down.
Dornan falling down, gets up quickly, but that's going to cost her. Lucky she wasn't injured.
Her teammate just went to the front, though, so they may be able to recover from that. And Dornan is flying down the backstretch.
She is catching up.
She is going to catch Fondor, and she may catch the leaders.
Wow.
Wow. She's got fun.
This is a gutsy effort by Dornan. Can she pull it off? She's moved into third. Dornan coming down the stretch from the outside. Dornan coming on strong. Dornan all the way. Dornan. Yes, she did it. Wow, unbelievable.
That was like, in watching that, I would tell you, like, it always brings me to tears. And also, it brings up something else of having that resilience and being able to do that, because there's more to do. There's so much more to do. When you made the decision, going into the Olympics, you said you extended childhood just a little bit longer, and looking at all of those. But I would love to know, like, were you thinking anything in that moment? Sometimes it's like, what were you thinking? It was like, I was thinking, oh, I need to finish this race. Or what else had come up to you for you in that moment?
Yeah, so I think what was most important is the thoughts that I had prior to the race even starting. I think if you have a positive vision of what you want to accomplish before the gun goes off, you're in a much better position to manage whatever comes your way. So when I fell, honestly, the only thing I remember is seeing my hands on the track and thinking like they're not supposed to be here, and then looking up and starting to run again. So I thought after the race, I was talking with my parents who were there in the stadium, and they said like, Heather, that was amazing. And I'm like, you guys, I barely fell. I just touched the track for a second and got right back up. I just thought I bent at the waist and kept running. And they're like, no, you were skidding on your stomach on the track. And I'm like, that can't possibly be true. So sometimes if you just have that really strong vision of what you need to do in that moment, it completely blinds you from what's really going on. So I looked up and I was really surprised just to see how much of a gap had formed between myself and the other runners, because I didn't think that I fell that hard. But at that point, I knew scores were close for the Big Ten championship for Minnesota. That was a home meet at our Gopher Stadium. And I thought if I at least finish the race, then I'll earn a point for my team. And it was just this incredible shift of momentum as I'm coming around that final curve where you can hear the in-house announcer kind of say, watch out for Heather Dornan. And I'm like, yeah, watch out for me. So it was just really amazing to have that final gear at the end to catch up with my teammate there. But the one thing I actually do love to share about this race is that I ended up placing second overall in the Big Ten championship for the 600 because there were 2 heats of the event. So at the end of the whole meet, I'm going up to get my award and stuff and standing at the middle spot on the podium. And someone had to tap me on the shoulder and be like, I actually won. And so I stepped down to second place, but then it was around then that we recognized that Minnesota won the Big Ten championship overall as a team by 8 points, which is what you earn when you place second. So the exact margin of victory was just enough for getting up and placing second. So I just think sometimes you never know when your greatest obstacles might become your greatest opportunities and how they might impact others around you as well.
Absolutely. And I laugh. I feel like this is being able to talk to you is like, I hope I don't have to give you a copay. Some people know me because I'm on the season of The Amazing Race and I had a panic attack going down the stairs. And kind of like you, I was like, oh, well, I just stopped for a minute, like not going down the stairs, and then seeing it over and over and over and really wanting to hide from the world, but having people say, it was so inspiring to see you do something like that. I didn't of course I didn't win like The Amazing Race, but seeing people having that inspiration and being able to move forward. But it also reminded me, because of my day job of looking in talent acquisition, it's something when people ask me about my bias is hiring potential athletes because of having those resilience, especially people who do individual sports, and understanding that you really have to make that decision. You have to be able to make the decision on whether you're going to move forward and how you're going to be able to move forward. Right. So I feel like when people ask me, I don't understand people who aren't competitive. And I also, when I started going into DEIB work, was really conscious of the fact that not everybody plays sports And it's hard. I don't have one single part of my life that is not a sports like suggestion or life goal or how I train people
Yeah.
of giving that advice. I would love to know, especially when you were coaching, is there some common trend or some advice that you've given that you give to others, especially you were talking about the coach that you were working with and giving them coaching advice. What's a piece of advice that you give to others that you think come up again and again?
Yeah, gosh, I think honestly, especially nowadays, I'm only coaching adults, but we live busy lives and have a lot of things on our plates. And most of the time, you think that people are looking for motivation, but they're actually looking for just a little bit of grace. So having someone to be able to say to them, doing most of the things most of the time builds consistency, and that will create positive results and get you where you're trying to go. I think if you are a professional athlete, obviously you want to do every little detail as best as you can. However, I think most of us find great performance through balance. So that is probably the best advice that I've given a lot of people, especially runners are typically pretty type A people who try to be perfectionists about everything. So same in the high school realm and stuff like that. Sometimes you just need to forgive yourself and be a goldfish, as they say, and forget a bad race so that you can come back and actually show what you're made of the next time.
Well, I appreciate you so much. I mean, I feel like you've had some great experiences and really helped people learn about fostering that resilience and adaptability as things go up. And you're a huge inspiration for me and so many others. And basically, if you want to run anytime, just give me a call since, we're both going into amateur running now. So
Very nice. Yes.
well, I'm glad that whenever you're in Waco, please feel like letting me know. And anything else you want to leave our viewers?
Gosh, no, that's perfect. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm happy to share, and just wishing you all well.
Right. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Well, that was a fun session. So inspiring to see that as well, like you said, Jackye. And I am excited for our next segment here. This is a brand new segment. So I want to introduce Quinn from Braid. Quinn, what do you have for us today? This is a new segment for us.
Yeah, so hi, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here. To give a little bit of context, Braid is an employee engagement platform, and we actually make games for people to play at work with their teams. Very, very near and dear to my heart. So my background is in product management, and I always had to come up with different activities and things to do with my team. They couldn't take away too much time from all of the work that we had to do on a daily basis, but they had to be fun and engaging. And so basically, yeah, I built a platform that I wish I had had when I was working at a bunch of different companies like Zynga and Square.
Love it. Actually, it's funny because a few of my friends, my close friends, have been in this same position because, oftentimes that responsibility falls on the youngest in the room. And they're like, all right, find us something to do together that, is very low budget and that is easily accessible for all of us. And it's like, okay.
And it has to be good because if it's not, even though it's not part of your core job, we'll kind of look down on you if you didn't do it well.
Yeah. You have to succeed. So thank you for on behalf of all the young people who are forced to do something like this, thank you for bringing this to market. And let's give everyone a taste of what it's like to play a game.
Let's do it. Yeah, I always think the best way to show people games is literally just play them. So Jackye, Joel, Danielle, are you guys ready? I'm not going to play because I designed the game.
We're ready. We're ready.
We're ready than ever.
So for the audience who does not necessarily know how to play, the hosts are going to play in Slack. So guys, go into our shared Slack channel. And then I created a few games. We're going with our brain teaser style game, Picture Puzzle. So yeah, if you go into Slack and just click Start Guessing on Puzzle 1, you should get an image. You should get maybe a hint. And then you can do as many guesses. Wow, Danielle already got it.
I was ready.
I was ready too.
Oh no.
Okay.
This is
Oh, no,
Joel, there's a
Joel.
lot of pressure.
I don't even know what to do now. This is not fair.
It's not fair.
This is fine.
All right.
Maybe start describing or typing what you see if you're really like, I have no clue.
Joel, what do you see?
What
There's anyone in the audience.
People talk about this all the time when they are considering how they're going to move forward in life.
Oh, yeah.
In their careers.
Okay. All right.
Maybe a scale will help you find.
Nicely done.
There you go.
Be laughing at me. All right. It's bad.
All right, that was the warm-up one. We have 2 more prepared. They'll get a little bit harder. So
Bad news bears for Joel.
let's jump over to puzzle number 2.
I'm out of a job.
All right, you guys all tied. So that was really quick. Maybe this one will be easy for the audience too. So we'll see.
I can already
okay.
say it's not easy.
This last one, I think, it's technically a tie break between Danielle and Jackye,
This
but
is hard.
Joel, we can throw away the first one and say that.
Hey, look, I don't need everybody to be a winner on this. I'm happy to take the L. Okay.
Using a Gen Z term too, Danielle has taught you well.
Yeah,
you just learned. You might think that you're failing, but you could actually pull it out.
Yes.
Pull it out for the team.
Oh man, God.
Joel's beta.
As somebody else, if you guys all guessed this already, this is just not good.
All right, so let's jump over to the third one. Let's start guessing.
About old people. I win. I beat you because I'm 51. There is no tying. I'm winning. And
you know what, Jackye? I respect my elders, so you know what? You do win.
This means you get to win. Not only can you sit next to me with dinner, but you can buy it. I'll let you do that.
Wow, Jackye, I'm honestly, I don't even know what to say. I'm just shocked. My jaw's on the floor. I'm starstruck right now. I don't know how to talk.
Actually, to be fair, I think everyone should know, like, people, this is actually was so much fun, but also between me and Danielle, when we first saw each other, we were like, didn't know this was going to happen. I see you. You see me. I feel seen. We are. So I just love to tease her because I know she says this.
I love that we're just winning this game, and Joel just gave up on the last one. What happened, buddy?
I don't want to talk about it. Okay?
Wait, I really want to know.
Joel, do you want to describe the image that you're seeing? That might just
look. I just.
What did you get?
I don't go into what I guessed. Okay, I said rainy weather. All right, I said rainy weather. It all makes sense to me now. They all make sense to me.
What else did you guess? You tried 3 times.
What was my third guess, Quinn? Why don't you let them know?
I actually can't see it because technically, if I was a player, that would be unfair. So I can take my engineering team to look it up. But
my third guess was I suck. Okay, because I just could not figure it out. No, because it's like I saw a Y there, and I'm like, I'm so focused in like upside down Y, and then I'm like, well, Y, and then it's in rainy, so like rainy weather, and then it was like clear but not fair, and now I get it.
Joel is doing the most with his guesses.
To be fair, I thought this one was hard. Oh, what was that, Jackye?
I thought it was hard to see at first. Like I was like trying to figure out and realizing that it was a picture.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, to be fair, I think this was the hardest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one too, it took me a while to get.
Well, that's because none
Warm
of us
up?
have been able to achieve work-life balance. So it's like, what? Is that a real thing?
Yeah,
That is true. That's true.
I think it's actually a legend.
Right.
I think this would be like great on. I think this would be great in interviews too.
This would be great on like Good Morning America. Like I could see them having so much fun with this and just being like, what the heck? Like imagine Al Roker trying to like do one of these puzzles. That'd be hilarious.
The hard part is actually trying to come up with them. So like on our platform, you can customize, you can create your own images, and you'd think you'd be able to come up with really good ones, but I've definitely spent like 40 minutes at a time being like, what's a good thing I can describe
I
and make
feel
an
like
image for?
that's where like ChatGPT could come in handy for sure. But we don't want to use
AI image creation.
Well, that was really fun. I'm glad that Jackye won and took first prize. I came in second behind her because first is the best. I'm a little scared.
Next time we can do a tie break with our typing test, which does it values speed. So
All right, I'm ready. I was like, I won't succeed in any of this. I was bad at school.
It's okay. I would say it was actually I learned a lot. I learned a lot here that I'm not going to get in a competition with Danielle or Jackye ever again. Me and Evan will have a side competition offline, and I feel like I could probably beat Evan, and I'll walk away with that. Yeah, it's Evan. That's fighting words for you. But Quinn, where can people find out more about Braid and what you're up to?
Yeah, well, I'm very, very much online on LinkedIn, so I think there's only one Quinn Lee O'Shea. Search me, and I should come up, and I'm very responsive. But if you want to check out the product, you can go to trybraid.io, and I believe we offered a promo code for anyone watching the HR Morning Show. So if they wanted to sign up and get access to all of our fun, different games and other personalization features, I think you get 15% off. So
love it. I'm gonna send this to my friends like right now. Actually,
amazing.
I love it. Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram, and Braid is also on Instagram. We actually went pretty viral on TikTok a year ago, which is a whole separate story. But 20 million something, I think, views within like a couple weeks, which is crazy.
Oh my God, we have to have you back to tell us that story.
Honestly, it was mostly our Gen Z intern, if I'm being totally honest. He did a great job.
All right, I love to hear that.
All right, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Quinn. Good to see you.
You too.
Well, that is it. I can't believe it.
Wow.
I cannot believe it. I'm secretly just feeling like really down and out about losing the game, guys. So
I'm feeling kind of good about myself.
I know you are.
It's a lovely day outside. It's we're all winners at the end of the day, except for Joel. And
yeah, just so we're clear, it's not a lovely day where I'm at. Okay, it's raining and it's 46 degrees.
Well,
Danielle, thank you.
Where are you?
Look, we're not going to get into where I am, okay? It's a sad
not
place.
in New York, that's for sure.
I'm in rainy old Wisconsin.
Yeah. I do want everybody to check out, and it made me laugh earlier when you said it. I did have a TikTok that came out this week where we're dancing with friends. And you can see, those who know me can see the absolute terror, the abject terror in my face. And I was like, what? Just go watch it.
I also posted a TikTok, I think it was like last week, where I filmed it at ERE with Jim Stroud, and we were doing like, remember that trend that was like the fighters, and then they would like punch each other, and we did one that's like AI versus recruiters. We should show that next week because it was funny. It didn't get many views, but I think it's a great piece of content.
And then I want to give an update. I did a TikTok, and you remember we were talking last week about the Pope, like how we chose the Pope in 3 days, and everyone's like, a lot of people like mad about this, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So I did a post, and it just says, "Dear corporate America, if the church can hire a new pope in 2 days, you don't need 7 rounds of interviews for an entry-level corporate role." And yes, my friends, 750,000 views. So thank you guys for inspiring me to that virality. It didn't help my business at all and didn't help my brand, but oh man, that dopamine felt good.
Felt so good.
It felt so good.
Likes.
I got 39,000 likes. So that was a good feeling. And it was inspired by you, Danielle. So
Wow.
thank
I'm
you.
honored.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I wish I could get like, like an assist type of
Yeah. We'll do a
type
collab.
thing.
We'll do a
No,
collab.
like the assists, like in basketball, they have like, number of assists. Like, that'd be great if I knew that number, because then I'd know how many people I'm inspiring every day, and I think that's a better metric for me than actual views.
You won't find out. That's the thing. That's the funniest. Like I always say, you're planting the seeds, and the tree, you will never enjoy the shade of the tree that you're planting.
I know.
People will come so much later and say, Danielle, I saw that thing that you did 5 years ago. I met somebody who said, oh, I changed my career. They're a very well-known podcaster. And they said, I started because I saw Inclusive AF with you and Katie. And I'm like,
It's amazing.
I said that like 2 years ago or something. Like, I've had bad days. I would have really liked to know.
I know.
that.
And that's why, like, I don't know, I feel like I've built a network at this point where it's very strong, and like I haven't really asked anyone for anything, and now I'm like starting to make some asks, and I'm doing a new project. I'm like, I want you to like be along for the ride with me and like
Right.
get the satisfaction of knowing what's going on at like all these different steps in the process.
I think that's fair. I said that yesterday too. I was like, I might have to just call in favors. It's the same where it's like where people take it to that next level of doing that. It's like maybe that's a whole nother show of what do you do with this now? What's next?
Yeah, you have a network. What do you do with it? How to activate your network?
Don't be Forrest Gump.
Your network is your net worth.
It's true. That was
It
the
really
best
is.
lesson I learned in college in my entrepreneurship class.
Yeah, I learned that in some like I don't know, was it Danco? One of those people said that.
Well, look, guys, I wanna thank Jackye for being such a
Yes.
great host today. Jackye, you're amazing, and I'm really glad that you were able to rub in your victory over me. No, but seriously, amazing to have you on here. Love your energy, wisdom that you bring to the show, and hopefully we'll be able to have you on again. And then we want to give a special shout out to Aaron. That's the employee referral platform, the number one employee referral platform. And Evan White did drop, I don't know whose chat was on because we go live on so many different channels, but if you go to aaronapp.com/red shoes,
Red shoes.
you can get your own red. And there it is. Wow, look at that. That's some
Boom.
skill right there. So get your own red shoes at aaronapp.redshoes or /red shoes. And guys, remember, we're trying to get to 2,000 followers. So please follow us, say subscribed, subscribe to our YouTube podcast channels. We value all of the listenership as well. And if you want to be a guest, if you want to sponsor, get a hold of someone on the show.
Reach out.
Evan White. But you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And guys, I think that is a wrap. I think we'll be back next
Thanks for
week.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you,
Jackye,
everybody.
let's run laps around Joel again in the future.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Heartbroken. My heart is broken. Do you guys want to guess what this
This.
is?
Or-
Hey, how did you get how did you do that?
Still winning. That's
I
Oh
can't.
my gosh, Jackye, how did you do that? That was not.
This is just
turn it on with my Mac. You can do it when you do the heart. When you do little things, it comes up.
Dang.
I
All right.
believe come up eventually.
oh, what? This is so cool.
Wow.
This is why we
All
have
right.
you on here.
Well, now we have to have her on for
I'll share
sure.
the wisdom offline.
Have her back.
All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Evan, Savannah, everybody in the chat. And if you're watching this after hours, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you
Have
guys
a
next week.
beautiful week. Bye.
Bye.